discussing children's literature, I think it's important to know about the various different formats of literature that exist and what makes them unique. Two different yet similar formats of literature that I'd like to talk about today are graphic novels and picture books. I first want to talk about some of the similarities that these two books have because they do share quite a few. In both graphic novels and picture books, they use illustrations and words to tell their story. You read them from left to right, and they use both pictures and words to tell their stories. So while graphic novels and picture books sound very similar, there are a few distinct differences that you should know about. For example, graphic novels use a type of storytelling and illustrations known as paneling. In the graphic novel New Kid by Jerry Craft, you can see a prime example of this. You can see on the page that the story is told in little squares and rectangles all over the page, and those are called panels. And within those panels, there are illustrations and text that are telling the story. And this is how graphic novels tell their stories. Now, if right now you're thinking, I think I've seen that before, it seems familiar, it's because you probably have. If you've ever read a comic book or a comic strip, you would have seen the same type of art style. For example, in the popular comic strip Calvin and Hobbes, you can see the exact same thing. You can see here on this page that not only are there panels, but there is text and illustrations as well that tell a story. So the big difference between graphic novels and comic books is how long they are. That's a good indicator of it. As you can see, graphic novels are very long, hence the name novel, whereas comic books tend to be relatively short. This one's just a little bit longer because it's a big collection of comic strips. Now, the last thing I want to talk about with graphic novels is that they can tackle a variety of different topics, from very mature and serious things to a little more fun and childish things. So because of that, they can be intended for a younger audience or a more mature audience. So there's a lot of flexibility there. Now, I also want to take a minute to talk about picture books and the key features that make a picture book a picture book. Picture books, like graphic novels, use words and illustrations. However, these books are typically intended for a younger audience, though they can address some pretty serious subject material. For example, in the picture book, The Story of Ruby Bridges by Robert Coles, it tells the story of the first Black child to attend an all-white elementary school. In this picture book, the author addresses serious topics such as racism, diversity, and discrimination. So you can see that although these books can be intended for younger audiences, they can still send powerful messages and address serious content as well. And the last thing I'd like to talk about with regards to picture books is, of course, the illustrations. Now, illustrations in picture books can be very diverse. They can be very big, they can be very small, they can take up entire pages. In this particular book, you can see that the author or the illustrator uses the entire page to illustrate and help tell their story. And in picture books, the pictures are not merely decoration, rather they help elevate and tell a story as well. So after watching this video, I hope that you've learned about some of the key differences between graphic novels and picture books and what makes both of them unique. Thanks for watching.